If you were forced to play in a deadly obstacle course for the sole prize of keeping your life, what would you... Okay, we're going to absolutely try our best to sound like cinema summary in this video, because how to beat style videos are a current funny in this niche, and it only makes sense that we keep up with these trends. In this season of Wipeout You Don't Remember, we're gonna break down the mistakes made and how to conquer every death trap in Buzzsaw Bloodhouse 0.1.5. This girl is in a death game in which she has to navigate some of the worst contraptions ever put together by a bulk purchase from Home Depot. On top of this, the game is being streamed live in front of an audience of at least thousands of sadistic fiends on the dark web. We don't know what her name is, where she's from, how she got here, or what's at stake for her besides getting cut into a million little pieces. The first trap she encounters is a floor of spikes that go down for a second and come right back up again. A long jump across this approximately 3-foot wide square wouldn't be that hard to execute, even with the finite space she has, because all she would need to do would be to take long strides from the pathway to the spikes, then take off with her dominant foot and make sure no parts of her graze the spikes. It's gonna be a pretty painful landing, but I couldn't think of many more painful things than getting stabbed to death via spikes. She then comes across 3 circsaw blades attached to walls on the opposite side, which she easily shimmies across. There's obviously shimmying, but an even easier way to mitigate the risk of us getting cut is to crawl on the floor and put our body under the blades, minimizing their chances of cutting us. Stating the obvious is a good way to pad the length of your content. Pro tip: a risky way, and a way that we'd steer clear of, is jumping over the blades. They're at a specific angle and far enough to where we get sliced if we try to clear it at any angle. Avoid. She then comes across a platform that carries her above a pit of barbed wire into the other stage of the course. Just hop on it and hop off. No other way. She then encounters a row of swinging chainsaws, and there's no other way to get past these other than running through them when they're not in front of you. Subsequently, there's a pit of 3 spinning circsaws alongside each other. No other way to get past it besides jumping, and I doubt many of us can parkour onto walls. And again, that's just another form of jumping. Her next trap is a series of 3 circsaws protruding out from the wall and 3 circular saws on the ground. Okay, this is definitely going to take a change of strategy. We'd advise the same strategy this time, but make sure to steer clear of the 3 on the ground, because we can't brazenly crawl everywhere and expect to get past this, but we also have to weave ourselves between the ones on the ground. Keep those in mind. There's another group of 4 circular saws on the walls opposite each other. Rinse and repeat. Pretty soon she comes across a series of wooden planks crossed over each other above a barbed wire pit, and a better way to move across them is to lay ourselves on the boards and scooch ourselves across. Not only is putting pressure on our tits not the best feeling, unless you're into that, and the splinters are a whole other nightmare, unless you're into that. Yet another series of chainsaws swinging right next to each other, and this group seems like it'd be high above the ground enough to crawl under. As we're beginning to sound like a broken record, she comes across a group of 3 spiked floors in front of swinging chainsaws. Okay, now that we know the method for these specific kinds of traps, the best course of action we can take is to run past the chainsaw when we get the chance to and jump up from the spike floors before they stab us. Remember to keep on collecting the actual heart-shaped hearts. I have no idea how they actually help this girl in her world, but hey, this game literally involves a live stream over Tor. She then comes across a nail gun installed into the wall. Okay, there's no way we're gonna be able to jump to freedom because the gun shoots too fast, and the narrow path past it is too long for us to get to the other side in one jump. Another nail gun is positioned down a narrow passageway with a couple of walls to duck into, but we don't really need to make use of these because we can simply either crawl or crouch cautiously the majority of the time. She'll then encounter a chainsaw-wielding maniac who will stop at absolutely nothing to cut her into pieces. Okay, this is one of the toughest situations anyone can find themselves in. Not only is there a homicidal lunatic chasing after us with another item on discount from Home Depot, but these are extremely narrow passageways, and they've been deliberately designed to be that way to trap us. The object of this maze-like section is to flip every switch that will enable us to proceed. It then brings her to another product of a lumberjack's entire career. Okay, this is definitely more dangerous than what we've previously seen, and it's much more intricately laid out. We're going to have to do some of the most careful crouching and walking of our lives if we actually want to go on and live, so the best course of action would be to crawl if the planks could support your weight like that, and drop ever so carefully onto each platform, making absolutely sure that you're gonna land somewhere that isn't the barbed wire. On top of this, there are nail guns shooting out what look like meter-long nails, but again, the best course of action is to crouch, and there are literally floating hearts that count as copies of lives, I guess. Then, there's a floor of about 3 different sets of spikes that come up at different times, and a good rule of thumb here is that it's mostly the panels towards the back that don't come up twice twice in succession, so we're better off hopping on one panel whose spikes just came up. And when it's clear, we should make our best effort to clear this trap as fast as possible. The next obstacle is a sequence of enormous circ saws over a barbed wire pit, with the only thing moving her forward being a platform. Carefully but fastidiously dodge the blades respective of their trajectory towards you. Move in the middle, to the side, or even go forward if that's what you need to do. Side note, the imagery and level design of this portion are really superb. The maniac will probably jump you in this last section, so immediately duck under the circ saw, past the door, or run beside it, and make sure you don't fall into the barbed wire pit. In order to open the door, we have to step in between the chainsaws, then the door will open, or wait a certain amount of time, we're not really sure what it is, then run through them, and we'd recommend going to the opposite direction of where the maniac is chasing you, so you'll have bought yourself time because he has to go all the way back around. But what do you think? How would you beat Buzzsaw Bloodhouse 0.1.5? Let us know down below. Thanks for watching.